Hi everyone, welcome to our session this afternoon. We're just going to give it a minute for everybody who's registered to drop into the call before we make a start. But we'll get going very shortly. So you're back in the office again today, Henry?
Yeah, I think so my partner's just become a teacher. So she had 5 years accounting, and that was enough for anyone. So she's become a
Oh
teacher.
yeah.
So I get very lonely at home, like a puppy. So
Oh,
I come in and try and see my friends.
it is lonely working from home on your own, isn't it?
Yeah, we're quite fortunate.
Yeah.
We're allowed to, this is like an open door policy. So if we want to come in, we can.
Oh, that's great. Have you found many people coming into the office because of that?
I would say what I find is the younger lot come in. The people who are a bit older probably don't want to because they've got children or they may be commuting slightly further. But the younger people are typically in the office, which is nice.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I
I
do
see.
class myself as one of the young ones still, just.
Oh, look, I'm not going to dispute that. Okay, we've got quite a few people in the call now, so I think we're ready to make a start. Welcome again to Peabody's Online Jobs and Apprenticeships Fair. I'm Yvonne and I work for Peabody, and I'm joined today by Henry, who will be delivering today's session. Just for you to note, the session's actually being recorded and it'll be available on Peabody's YouTube channel. So all you need to do is go onto YouTube, search Peabody London, and you'll find all the sessions from today and also from yesterday. So there's actually 20 different sessions, all on boosting your career that you'll be able to watch. The PowerPoint presentation will be available on our website. So you can have a look at all the details there as well. The format for today is we'll hear from Henry and then we'll open up to Q&A. So if you've got any questions, just drop them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen and we'll get through as many as we can today. And there's also a chat function for you to leave any comments. And before we start, I'd just particularly like to welcome any Peabody residents who are on the call and to remind you that we have a free one-to-one career service that's completely free and available to Peabody residents. So you can get help with writing your CV, looking for jobs, applying, writing cover letters, preparing for interviews, anything that you need to get a job, our career service can help you with that. But I'll hand over now to Henry to kick off.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to what I'm told is the 20th of 20th event today. So hopefully you've all got a bit of energy to listen. I'll try not to keep you too long because it's Thursday. It's the evening and I'm sure people want to go for a drink or something on a Thursday. So what we're going to cover today is how you can search and apply for jobs while you're at home. So very easy, all online and how we'll do things. So what we're going to go. What we're going to cover today. So we're going to cover how you can search for jobs, how you can save jobs, and the importance of a covering letter and supporting statement. Probably also just highlight what a supporting statement is and what a covering letter is. And then the objective for this session is everyone here to be able to find suitable jobs to apply for, and then we'll know how to set up alerts for these jobs. So let's jump right into it. So when you're thinking about how you would apply for a job, you can probably think of hundreds, if not thousands of ways. And there probably are hundreds or thousands of ways to do it. But I think there's probably three ways that are best to start. So I think I'll just sort of talk through some of those, and some of them might sound really obvious. So different ways. So first one, Google. Second one, directly with a company. Third one, speaking to recruiters. I know sometimes recruiters often get a bit of a bad name, but trust me, there are some good ones out there, Goodman Masson included, some of us. So yeah, that's how we do it. The job boards that I would recommend, again, there's thousands of job boards out there that you can go to, but ones that I would recommend for your beginning of your search would be Indeed, CV Library, Job Site, and Total Jobs. So this session's quite practical, I suppose. Let me quickly jump into it and show you what I mean by these things. So firstly, what I mean by Google is as simple as you think. So you jump onto Google. I want to become, let's say, a finance. Can I spell under pressure? No. Finance accountant, London, and just Google it. And then you'll come up and there will be hundreds, if not thousands of jobs that you can click on. Go through, find out where it is. So these were all posted within the last couple of days and you can click in. Here's one from Goodman Masson, a financial accountant within a financial services business. And you literally just go through and apply. And you can literally do that with, well, I'm going to test myself, Rocket, scientist, not many, but PA, there'll be lots. So there's loads of jobs that you can go for. The second way that I think I mentioned there was directly on websites. So if I typed in Tesco's jobs, you click on their careers page. Tesco's is actually really good because you just go through. It's drop down, so you can say what you want to do. So say I want to work in a store. I don't really mind what I do, but let's say store colleague, all roles within London. And I've got a car, so let's go 20 miles. And then you click apply. And there's 1,100 jobs. Everyone's probably stocking up for the Christmas rush, I would have thought, Christmas temps and everything. So that's how you do it, and you can quickly just like flip between these and change it and make sure it all works. With these ones, they aren't all exactly the same, but all of the major organizations will have similar search engines. Some of them might require a little bit more where you have to input data, but ones like Tesco's or the really big brands that everyone would know are very, very, very easy to use. I think the third way that I sort of mentioned was through direct with a job site. So I mentioned those 4 job sites there. The reason I've mentioned those job sites is they're probably the ones that have the widest ranging reach. There are niche ones for rocket scientists probably, or there's very niche ones for particular parts of finance, so tax or marketing. But I would say the 4 that I mentioned on that first slide would be the ones that where you could start. So again, how you would work it is retail assistant within London, up to 25 miles, find jobs. And wait for it to load. And there's 92 jobs that have been uploaded in the last 28 days. Indeed is exactly the same, so is total jobs, and the other one that I mentioned earlier. So as simple as that may sound, I would just say that, look, Google what job you want and the location. Tesco's or any other ones, just type in their title and careers or jobs or anything like that, and then CV library. The other way that I think I mentioned was around recruiters. So if you went finance recruitment agencies London and searched it, there will be hundreds on here that you can go through. So Hayes, Robert Walters, Goodman Masson, where I actually work, we're 3rd in the rank, which is pretty good, although we're definitely better than these 2. So please just think about it. There are lots of recruiters out there. There are some really bad ones and some really good ones. So just stick with it. You will find someone who is perfect for you. Let's quickly jump back into this. Right, next slide. So now that you've done that simple process and you've searched Google, I mean, it didn't take us long, but wouldn't it be easy if you could just get those jobs emailed to you without even have to apply again? Literally, when you're sleeping, you can get things sort of sent to you. Let me show you what I mean by that, by setting up job alerts. Oh, sorry, it's my fat fingers. And I don't know any other way to shut it down other than going onto the task manager. So I do apologize. Here we go, back in the game. So let's go back onto these financial accountant ones. So here's one with Finitus. It's actually my old company. You can literally save the search by clicking save and set up for them. Same with Tesco's. So you may have spied it when I did this search. There is a way at the bottom where you can sign up for job alerts. So if you click on here, you literally register. I've registered before, so I don't really want to do it again, but you would register and they will email jobs. An example of some jobs that I've just closed. And this is what the sort of email would look like that comes through. It would be thanks for coming through, and then they'd start emailing jobs that you can apply for. So Tesco's, that's the welcome code. And then here's the career center. There you go. So I got this email through saying, Henry, here's a job that we've got. Click on it. I live in London. It's Ealing. Perfect. Click and apply, and then you go forward for that. The other way is to sign up to job alerts like this. You've probably already spied it. Just here on the right, there's this part here that says, get the latest jobs, put your email address in, and then you can get it sent to you. There's one that I use called Inside Housing, which is very good for the area that I recruit into. And let me quickly bring it up, where they will send you through an email like this saying, here you go, Henry, here's some jobs, please apply. And then if you want to, you can view that job, or you can click through it and go for everyone. So this is another housing association that are looking for one of these. The good thing about those alerts is once they're set up, all you need to do is just check your inbox. They're very easy. They probably come through at like sort of 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So you go to sleep, wake up, and there's a fresh batch of jobs that you can go forward for. So yeah, I would definitely advise, once you're doing it once, you may as well set up and do them all. Also, if you want to unsubscribe, it's literally just an unsubscribe button like you would with any other email. So I know it sounds like we haven't really covered too much there, but hopefully that gives you a bit of a good place to start. The next part of your search is, once you've found good jobs, doing everything you can to make sure that you stand out from the rest. So covering letters and supporting statements, essentially what these are, they are ways for you to stand out above your competition, where you've got a CV that you would apply for a job with. There's a fact, actually, though, there's a stat that apparently recruiters or hiring managers will only look at your CV for about 6 or 7 seconds before deciding whether or not you're right for the job. So what a covering letter might do is make you stand out, and they might spend a minute rather than 7 seconds. So essentially what it is a chance for you to sell specifically why you were good for a certain job. And you can highlight through it exactly what it is and everything else. So what does a covering letter look like? So a covering letter essentially looks like a letter that you have sent to a client or the hiring manager saying, dear sir or dear madam, thank you for the chance to apply for this job. And then you would study the job description, study the advert, and look for keywords. In most job descriptions, there's an essential criteria button, or a preferred criteria of what they want to see from you. And then you would look to match the criteria in that to something that you've done in the past. Don't be worried if you haven't exactly done all of it. I'd probably say if you've done sort of 65, 70% of everything on that job spec, I would always apply. These job specs are written in such a way that they sometimes are looking for a golden unicorn, which doesn't exist. So please just apply if you've got sort of 65, 70% of the skills, get on it. So then you would just match it. The other point I wanted to make is, if you haven't got experience, maybe in a work capacity, so if they're looking for someone who's got experience leading a team, or they want someone who's done something similar to that, why don't you think back to what you might have done at school, what you've done volunteering, what you've done with sports teams, and see if you can relate it. So for example, I could say, when I was in year 11, I captained my school football team and led the team to whatever it might be. That would be a lie, so please don't lie. But there are lots of opportunities for you just to bring out of, if it's not necessarily working life, something that you can sort of bring back within your background. So the key things that I would say is, read the job description, read the advert, then try and pull together 2 or 3 paragraphs of why you are good for the role. So relating back to the keywords, the buzzwords, the essential requirements, and try and match it with a example. So for example, if I said that on the criteria it was, we need someone who can lead a team and drive performance. If I just wrote in my covering letter, I can lead a team, I can drive performance, it's pretty weak. But if you could say, I can lead a team, for example, I have done this, this, and this, it will really, really help you. The last point on that is the proofreading. Although it is a great place for you to sell yourself a bit further, make yourself stand out above the competition, it's also a chance that you could slip up if there's lots of errors in there, grammatical errors, or I've seen before where people have got a generic covering letter and they've forgotten to change the they've forgotten to change the company name that they're applying to, or the manager's name. And if you send that in, the person's going to put that right in the bin without even looking further, I would have thought. So make sure you keep on top of it. So a relatively short session, but just to overview what we've covered there, and hopefully you found it pretty useful, is how we can search for jobs, how we can save jobs, the importance of a covering letter and a supporting statement, and hopefully we feel that we've all been able to learn that. So if there's any questions, please let me know.
That's great. Thank you, Henry. Lots of really useful tips in there. We've got a few questions come in already. So someone's asked, visiting businesses in person and distributing CVs in hard copy, is that still effective nowadays?
I think it probably depends where you're looking to go. I think there is a certain element of impact that might have, but I think there will be other organisations that might find it slightly odd, maybe not odd necessarily. But if, for example, if it was like a really corporate place where everyone's at their desk not speaking, I would say probably not. But say it was a local shop or a retail place that you could walk in, because it shows your confidence, it shows that you can approach people, you can talk to them. So yeah, I think in certain situations, give it a go. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But what have you got to lose, really? Just go in and just sort of show them what you can and can't do.
Sounds good. Someone else is asking, there's two questions about cover letters actually. One is how long they should be, and the other one is what do we actually write in one? What's the best way to structure one? Do you have any examples?
Yeah, I potentially do have some examples, but I need to make sure that their names aren't on there. So essentially, the best way to structure it is like you would a letter. So your address at the top, dear so and so, and then you would just go through and say, I'm writing to you in regards to da, 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 and then you would list your experience. I would probably say that it doesn't want to be more than a page. I've seen covering letters where there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Well, not hundreds, that's a lie. There's probably like 15 pages. No one's going to read that. And people will just be like, this person can't be concise in what they're doing. So I would probably say around X amount of time is what they want to do. Here we go. I've got one here. I can share my screen
Okay,
quickly.
great.
Can we see this? So
Yes, we
this is
can.
for a head of development with some Mungos. And it would just go through, say, dear sir or madam, this one's actually too long in my opinion, but it just goes through and say, this is that experience, this is what I've done. And then you would just go through and finish it. I don't want to go too far because it probably has a signature, but it would just be like a normal letter where, so what this chap has done is in the job description, there's been points of experience. So he has gone through and said, point one, this is where I can relate to that. Point two, this is where I can relate to that. I would say that's slightly too long, but it's an example that we had.
Yep, no, perfect. Someone else has asked, how does a personal statement differ from a cover letter?
So they're exactly the same, really. It's just some people call it personal statement, some people call it covering letter. Yeah, I don't see much differences. I think it's more personal preference.
Yeah. Someone's asked any examples of buzzwords, but I'm going to add to that question. Do you think there's certain words people should be including in their CV and cover letters to be found better or more easily?
Yeah, so let me, I could probably do another example here. So the area that
Okay.
I recruit into is housing development within social housing. So if I bring up a generic job spec, sorry, share screen. What I mean by the keywords is there's a very good thing you can do on most of these things is if you press Control F. Where is it? Control F. So the find button will pick up. So this would be where you could just find like development, and it comes up 11 times. So you probably want to mention your development experience. New build will come up. And there'll be other things that if you read through here, there'll be some real keywords that you can find out of here and just make sure that you put into your into your covering letter, is what I mean by that. There's the obvious ones that you can probably use. So like everyone looks for someone who's hardworking, Everyone looks for someone who's organized. Everyone looks for someone who's done their research on the company. So make sure you're doing your research, and they're the ones that are pretty generic, regardless of what role you're applying for.
That makes a lot of sense. Someone's asked, is it okay to contact companies and send a CV in, even though they don't have any advertised jobs?
Yeah, I think so. I think the way that you would probably do that is say, look, you'd address it, find out their name, and say, look, I know that you're not looking for anyone at the moment. I just wanted to share my CV with you because I know that you do hire people who are in my area. Be great if we could have an informal conversation, or if you could keep my CV on file for when anything comes up. I think there's no harm in trying that. If anything, it actually shows that you've got a lot of willing to go out and proactively find a job, which I think if someone did that to me, I'd be more inclined to speak to them than if they just applied when everyone else applied. And it also makes yourself stand out, right?
Absolutely.
On that though, I probably wouldn't
Yep.
send one every week saying, "You've
Yep.
seen a CV now, see my CV now." That might annoy people.
Yeah, sure. So Liz has asked, what types of searches for keywords can I use to find jobs? I'm looking for a managerial role, not necessarily managing people, more like cases. It's just that I can't find jobs that look for skills in my customer services or complaints field.
Okay, I think I can maybe answer that question. So let's pick it apart. So if I'm right, you're looking for a case. I don't know what the role is exactly. But what I would do is I would just, it sounds silly, but you can just cut in Google, you can just put in all of the keywords that you want. So it'd be managerial, cases,
Case management.
London,
Yeah.
case management, and then Google. And let me share my screen. For example, I've just put managerial cases, London, case manager, and there's case manager vacancies we're recruiting, or case manager jobs in London. And then you can go through and just click through it. So it really,
Mm,
Google is brilliant because you can just talk absolute gibberish into it, and it will pick it apart, almost like it doesn't need to be a sentence. It can be just
mm,
keywords. Yeah,
yeah,
and it will find something. Um, yeah,
yeah,
even if it's ridiculously niche.
sure. This is in relation to a comment that you made earlier around putting CVs on file. Someone's asked, as a recruiter, do you actually keep CVs on file, or is that something you say to be nice to candidates, to be kind to candidates?
Well, I'm sure there's probably some people who would say that they would keep them on file, but in our company we would keep them on file. We would have a conversation with them before we put them on file because we don't want to be storing any information that we don't know about. So if you wanted to register with Goodman Masson, I would have a conversation with you if you were in my area, find out exactly what you're looking for, what your salary expectations is, where you live, etc. And then we would keep it on file. But I mean, in all industries, there's good people, there's bad people. So I think I said earlier, find yourself someone that you get on with, um, someone who understands what you're looking for, gives you the time of day, because there'll be some people that will never respond to you, but there'll be other people who are really good. Um, so yeah, we do find that what we do at Goodman Masson is we'll code people if they were looking for a development manager job or a personal assistant job. We would then search across our database um, in relation to however far away they live from a certain vacancy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, Someone's asked, is there a portal where I can find insights on average salaries?
Yeah, so I often find that these aren't that good, but things like Glassdoor, you will be able to find average salaries. And actually, just on the so if I was to type in finance accountant London, on most of these, there will be some area where it will say what they're paying. So let me share my screen here.
So maybe looking up job ads and just comparing across them.
Yeah, so you can see, look, these are all
Yeah.
financial accountant jobs in London, 45 to 55, 55 to 6,000 euros. And then you can click in them and there'll probably be somewhere in there the salary that they're looking to pay, 60 to 65. And I think it's just sort of piecing together by looking at,
Mm,
if you look at enough adverts, you'll certainly see that there are some very consistent salaries. There may be some on there that are completely far out and ridiculous salaries. Don't always think that you're going to be worth the top of that bracket. I'd probably try and take a bit of a medium and just take the middle part.
Sure. Someone's asked, like a CV, does a cover letter or personal statement need to grip in the first couple of sentences?
Yeah, I think so. And I think actually with that, if you can keep it to a page, you should engage your reader. But I think if you make it personal, I'm writing to you in regards to this. I've listed some relevant experience, and then you just punchy. It doesn't need to be too small talk, but you're looking for this. This is where I've done it. Example, back it up. Just punchy, 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 and you should get their attention rather than a generic CV.
Sure. Simrat's asked, would I be able to send my CV to you both? So Simrat, if you're a Peabody resident, you absolutely can use our free employment service. You just find it on our website to search employment. What about registering for Goodman Masson, Henry?
Yeah, I think we would definitely have a conversation with you, but it would depend what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for something, I think one of the misconception about recruiters is I would recruit for every single job out there. I only recruit for a very, very niche part of a very, very niche sector. So it depends what you're looking for. If you do something within finance or if you do something within housing development, we could definitely have a conversation. But if you're looking for something like an EA, PA, I may be able to pass it on to some of my colleagues. But yeah, please send it across, and if we can help, we can help.
Perfect. Okay. And someone's asked, is there a website to correct CVs?
Yeah, there probably is a website to correct CVs and proofread them. They may charge you money. What I would say is if you get a good recruiter, they will check it for you, or they should check it before they send it to anyone. Say, for example, if I got sent a CV and I didn't think it was quite right, I'd probably ring them and say, have you thought about this format? Because I want that CV to look as good as possible because I want you to get that job to get paid. So I would say probably look out for a couple of recruitment agencies, and they should give you at least a couple of minutes just to talk through where you need to change your CV. Um, don't expect to get sort of 20, 30 minutes because most recruiters are pretty busy, but they would definitely, good ones should definitely give you the time. And if they don't, they're probably not the right recruiter for you.
Sage advice. Someone's asked, do you help or support candidates registered with Goodman Masson to shape their CVs and cover letters?
Yeah, so we would give them advice on the format. I would probably give the same advice that I'm giving here. We obviously say to them, don't fabricate anything. But if you have a look at the job spec and the advert and the company, there will be things in there that you can relate to. So yeah, we would always give that advice, and we would proofread them and make sure that they're good. Like I said, well, I actually didn't say it this session. Last session, I said, if you're not good at proofreading, make sure you get it checked with someone else. So the recruiter's a good idea, or a family member, or a friend, or potentially someone at Peabody. If you're a
Sure.
Peabody resident, of course.
That's all right. Loving the key messaging. We've just finished up all the questions, but actually I've got one for you, Henry. How much do you use LinkedIn to find candidates? And would you recommend the people on this call to make sure that they've got a good LinkedIn profile set up when they're looking for jobs?
Yes, I think so. Definitely the more senior that you get and the more niche markets you operate in, I think 90% of the people that I find will be through LinkedIn. So I would make sure that you spend a little bit of time. There was a session earlier, I think, by my colleague Jack. We did
There
something
was, in
about
fact. Yep.
creating your LinkedIn profile. So I would say watch that if you haven't watched it already, and definitely put your keywords in there, because like I can search on Google, on LinkedIn, I can search for people who have particular skill sets. And then I can send you a message saying, hi, I'm looking for this job, or please can we have a conversation? So I would definitely say have a look on LinkedIn and make sure you're up to date.
Great. Okay, we haven't got any more questions for today, so we might actually wrap up a little bit early. I'll give it 1 minute just in case anyone on the call would like to ask anything. But otherwise, we can wrap up. But as Henry's mentioned, just for everyone on the call today, all of the recordings, including the one on how to write a LinkedIn profile, we've also got another one on job interview techniques, and also one on CV writing actually as well. They're all by Henry's colleagues actually at Goodman Masson. They're all available on the Peabody website. You can just Peabody YouTube page. So you just search Peabody London on YouTube, and you'll find those. We haven't got any other questions today, so I'm going to wrap it up there. But thank you, Henry, for today. That was really, really helpful.
Yeah, no, thank you for everyone who attended. I hope, I mean, there's only so much you can say about searching for jobs, so good luck.
Yeah. Um, well, I might just answer this one here just because someone's asked, how can I improve my interview skills? It's letting me down. So we did actually have a session on interview skills that was quite long. It ran for an hour nearly. Like I said, that will be available on the Peabody YouTube channel. So I think it's best to watch that one because it's very specific to interviews. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that as well, Henry.
Yeah, I think it's just the confidence piece. Don't try and be something you're not. Show your personality. Do your research. Make sure you know a bit about the business. Um, and there's a thing, if you Google it, called a STAR technique, about how you should answer questions. So similar to writing your cover letter, you would say, I've done this, here's the example. When you answer a question that's put to you, say, yes, I've got experience doing, well, I can do this. Let me give you a working example. But it's all just relax and have fun.
Great tip. Thank you. But yes, we will wrap it up on that. And thanks for the messages coming through in the chat as well. It's been lovely presenting this today with you, Henry.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, okay. Have a good evening, everyone.
Cheers now. Bye bye.
Bye.